Hello, everybody. This is Andy Lopez, Invisible Gardener. Guess what? Today we're going to have a environmental alert special. I think my voice is coming across okay. I can't really tell. Normally, I just hear. I like hearing my voice. I'm one of those guys that like hearing myself. But we're having a little special today. I'm calling it environmental alert special. See, environmental alert special there. A little signature there. Because I decided I'm going to have to just be more aggressive and stating what's going on, the obvious, And so I'm going to. The lines are open. If you want to talk to me about environmental alert and the environment, if you have something you want to say about the environment, feel free to call in. Don't, if you're going to call about questions, gardening questions, stuff like that, just email it to me, and we'll work on it next time. Hopefully you're using the Zoom meeting. This is the preferred way to get on here. You use the Zoom meeting, click on Zoom, go to either my website or VBS Radio, or you can call toll-free 888-627-6008 or direct 323-744-4831. I prefer Zoom meeting because then you can be part of the show. Okay? As I said today, I'm going to be doing a special. We're going to just interrupt the classes and the workshops, and I'm going to do a little environmental alert special because it's getting a little bit scary out there, don't you think? Right? And right after the show, on Station 2, I'm doing my Cosmic Spaceship. And let's see, my cat wants something. Oh, that's me. Let's see. Oh, I forgot what I was doing. So that's me at the beach. If you're using Zoom, you would see the video, and part of the whole show really is to be able to see the video. I know that lots of people just download the audio version of it, and you're missing out on the whole thing. The videos can be seen either right here on BBS Radio or on my YouTube station, as well as a BBS station. And the video is half the show, right? It really is. It's half the show. That way you can see me. You can see my handsome face at the beach. Took my mask off, right? But if you want to talk to me, if you have something to say, what I'm doing is I'm going to be inviting people on as guests who will have something to say about the environment and what's going on. And I'm also asking people to do a little quickie, a selfie on themselves, saying, wake up and smell the fires burning, the earth is burning, right? Wake up and smell the earth is burning. Well, wake up and smell the fires, the earth is burning. And send it to me via email. Now, my cat is yelling like crazy. She wants me to let her out. Unfortunately, I can't let her out right now. So if you hear a cat in the background going, let me out, that's the kitty cat. And I have all kinds of really cool graphics to show you that I've sort of developed, and I'm going to be working on more graphics. This one says, hello, our earth is warming, and it's warming up. It's your fault. It's a gorilla. And so, I'm going to be talking to you, giving you some idea I'm going to be doing a 2-hour environmental alert. It'll be coming up, I'm not sure when, next month and months after that. I want to give enough time to get everything together, to have a different guest on. They're not going to be on live. What's going to happen is that you'll call me and we'll get together and tape it, and then I'll put it up here on the show. And so that way, it doesn't have to be on a Saturday, so that we can tape it at your convenience. And if you would like to be a guest on the show or have something to say, what we'll do is I'll tape you about 15 minutes, maybe even a half hour. No guarantee I'll do the whole half hour, the whole 15 minutes. What I'll do is I'll put up, say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the show on the show, and then we'll have some more time to do it again. So I'm going to be doing environmental alert on a regular basis now. I'm going to be doing the last Saturday of every month. It's going to be environmental alert. I may not even have to do a 2-hour special if I just do it every Saturday, last Saturday. We'll see. But that's what I'm going to be doing every last Saturday, which is not really, I know, this is not the last Saturday. But I'm going to do two weeks of environmental alert. And Deborah is going to be coming on next week. She's in the woods meditating, talking to trees, which is really nice. And so today I'm going to be doing the just part one, I guess, of the environmental alert. And I'm going to be going over some things with you that I see and tell you my point of view. I'm assuming everything's coming across okay because, you know, I don't hear my voice or anything, you know, so it's it's hard to tell if it's working or not. Is it working, Mr. Engineer? You can send me a little chat, say yes or no. I can't tell if the, you know, I'm used to, in the old days when oh yeah, okay. On the old days when I used to talk, I always hear my voice in the background there. You know, I can tell because I like hearing my voice, you know, and it also helps me to talk to somebody because I really don't like talking to myself, you know. I've been doing it. I think as you get older, and you start talking to yourself, it's a case, right? It's a problem. So I'm going to start off with is the trees. I know it's a weird place to start off environmental alert, the trees, but you're aware that we're cutting down 1,000 acres a day in the forest and the various different places around the world. And, you know, trees are a very important part of this whole process here. And, you know, I've been talking a lot about, I talked to you a lot about the soil, right? And to me, it's, my first, goddamn kitty cat, why did you do that? Don't get on me right now. She's a monster kitty cat. She's like a big bear. She jumped on me with giant claws. I'm sorry. She really, anyway, sorry, excuse me. Where was I? My cat is this very aggressive kitty cat. I should give her a key to the door if she wants me to build a cat door so she can get in and out on her own. She's very aggressive. She wants to go out. But so the trees are very important. You know what they do. They take in carbon dioxide and give off oxygen. And if the soil is dead, the trees die too, right? And you know, I also wanted to briefly talk to you a lot about what's coming up because people don't seem to understand that. Yeah, we're going to have a global warming, but we're also going to have an ice age following that. And all indications point that it was going to be one heck of a global warming and one heck of an ice age. The last global warming was called the medieval warming period. It was done during the medieval times. And all they did then was cut down a big part of the forest in Europe and different parts of the world. It wasn't a major thing like we're doing now. And they had a 500-year warming period, which was followed by an ice age, which was called the Little Ice Age. The Little Ice Age lasted, think of George Washington crossing the Delaware. That was the end of the Little Ice Age. And so when I do this environmental alert, I'm going to be talking to you about lots of different things that I see. What about CO2? I'm going to talk to you about the Industrial Revolution. Did you know the Industrial Revolution was the start? Yeah, you know, the pollution stuff, but what really happened, they came up with chemical fertilizers. That's the start of destroying the soil. A scientist did a research saying the world's food sources have less and less nutritional value, and he's convinced that's something to do with CO2, and he can't figure out what it is. The reality of it is, it's not the CO2, it's the soil that's been destroyed by the chemical fertilizers. Plants use CO2 and convert it to food and energy and so forth. Trees convert it to oxygen. So it's not the CO2 that's causing the problems. And that's why I have in this little picture here why chemical fertilizers damage the soil. Chemical fertilizers destroy the microorganisms in the soil. Literally destroy. So do pesticides. Anything you do that's not natural will destroy the natural biological of the soil, as it will destroy the natural biology in your body. And I talk a lot about we have evolved from the soil. We have microorganisms in our soils, in our stomachs, just like the soil has microorganisms. We evolved from the microorganisms in the soil. We decided one day that we were going to get up and walk away and walk around instead of being connected to the soil, right? Like trees are and birds and others. We decided to, and at Star Trek, they call it bags of water. That humans are bags of water. And basically that's what it is. We decided to take the soil with us. And I talk a lot about how to heal your soil, right? That's what the key is. My whole business model is based upon how to heal the soil. And we have to basically stop the pollution. And, you know, how do we get out of this scenario, right? We have to stop the pollution. We have to stop using the chemicals. We have to stop using the power plants. We have to stop using cars with gasoline. And we have to start re-energizing the soil. We have to start learning how to, you know, no-till. You have to learn how to grow things without turning over the soil. You know, every time what happens, you rototill the soil, you're releasing the carbon dioxide that the soil uses. You're going back into the air again. And then not only are you releasing the carbon dioxide, but you're destroying the microorganisms. They're not meant to be rototilled, right? And so, and you also learn, you know, the whole thing too is about animals, right? What do animals do? They poo-poo, and they provide the biologies back to the soil. Remember the bisons? Millions of bisons roamed the United States. And they went from one place in the United States to another part, and they were very rarely in one place for long. And they provided the microorganisms that the soil needs. That's why the soil is so important, right? All life on the earth is dependent on the soil. Even life in the ocean is dependent on the soil. How can that be? Well, the Mother Nature is very good at recycling. Mother Nature is very good at taking trace minerals and providing it everywhere on the planet that's needed. All living organisms need trace minerals to function in their body and to produce the food that they need. You know, make the cells grow and for their bones, and even the most exotic trace minerals are needed. One of the things I've learned from my experience as an arborist is that tree diseases, all tree diseases are in the soil. And if the soil is functioning and alive, the diseases do not get started. Whenever there's a trace mineral deficiency, that trace mineral deficiency is all passed to the trees and to us. Whenever we have a trace mineral deficiency in our bodies, right, we're going to have a problem too. That's why I talk a lot about using live compost. That's why I talk a lot about using rock dust, right? That's why I talk a lot about using organic fertilizers and learning how to use a mulch. So my first book was called How to Heal the Earth in Your Spare Time, right? How to heal the earth in your spare time. It means you don't have to do anything different other than the way you live and the way you behave from day to day. The food you eat, you should only be eating certified organic. You don't want to be buying junk food, right? All this junk food is just encouraging them to use more pesticides. Pesticides, chemicals. Plastic too. Plastic can be made biodegradable from plants. People don't understand that not only does the soil hold carbon dioxide, but the ocean holds carbon dioxide also. And neither of them are functioning correctly right now. And we have done so much damage to not only the soil, but to the whole ecosystem. That's what human beings have been doing. And we've done more damage in the last, well, I was going to say 1,000 years, but I even reduce it to 100 years. In the last 100 years, we've done more damage to our planet, to the soil, to our environment, than all of mankind's history of all of mankind. Think about that. I extended to 1,000 years because in China, you know, they started a long time ago. They started doing the same thing, rototilling. They didn't have pesticides in it, but they destroyed the natural environment by rototilling, by doing the things that are not normal to do. And I like calling it sustainable agriculture, right? But they're nowadays are calling it regenerative. Sustainable and regenerative to me means the same thing. That means that it regenerates on its own and it's sustained by itself. You know, if you do it right, it will get better and better and better and better rather than worse and worse and worse. That's the problem with chemical fertilizers, chemical pesticides, right? You cannot grow on the same piece of land for too long because you're going to have to move on and it becomes barren. And when it becomes barren, it increases the temperature of the property there, increases the temperature of the whole environment. It reduces the ability for it to rain. It just screws up the whole ecosystem, the way the whole system has been set up. Man seems to think that the earth was put here for their benefit, to do with as you wish. And I've been telling people it's not too late to change our ways. It's never too late. It's never too late. And you don't want to give up. I'm not going to give up. I've been telling you this stuff since 1970, okay? And I'm still at it. In 1970, I was saying, and how do you heal the earth in your spare time? You need to pay attention to what we're doing. We need to stop polluting. We need to start paying attention to the health of the soil. And it's not too late to do it now, because you can turn things around. It's going to take some time and ingenuity, and that's what humans are very good at, very ingenuitive way of doing things, right? And there's nothing wrong with cattle. There's nothing wrong with animals. Nothing wrong with a cow. You just have to learn how to properly manage your soil. Remember the bisons that ran up and down? It wasn't too long ago, we had thousands, if not trillions and billions of animals running all over the place. And what do you think they were doing, right? They would poo-poo and die, right? And recycle back to the soil. And I like to tell people that all trees have rights too, right? Well, the soil has rights too. The soil the living organisms in the soil have rights too. I tell people that the living organisms is the beginning of the food chain and the end of the food chain. Okay, we're not at the top of the food chain. They are. When we die, guess who eats us, right? The microorganisms and the soil. And the job of the microorganisms is to feed everything, to keep everything happy and healthy. And the way it does that, it takes carbon dioxide, turns it into a carbonic acid, which then uses the carbonic acid to break down the minerals, which then transforms it into a form of nutrient that's available to the plants. And I talk a lot about mycorrhiza. I talk a lot about this organism in the soil. That's the job it does. There are different types of mycorrhiza, depending on what part of the world you're at, right? Things have evolved with certain types of mycorrhiza in the soil. And if you, like, I talk a lot about homeowners, they have different varieties of plants from all over the world. And so that's one of the things I do is I encourage different types of mycorrhiza to go on your property. And we need to start paying attention. Like I was telling people, let's wake up and smell the fires burning, right? Wake up and smell the earth burning. So we need to just wake up and demand change. You demand change by voting, the way you vote. You want to vote in people that understand that we are having a major problem and we need to stop with this pollution stuff. We need to stop with this chemical pesticide. We need to stop with cutting down trees. Right away, I would tell, it's all about money. That's why it comes down to is money, okay? And so it's very simple for the trees. Like I said, we're damaging the air. There's a picture of a plane going there. We have done so much damage to the ozone level, to the very air we breathe. But it comes down to money. We're cutting down 1,000 acres a day of the forest. So pay them not to cut it down. If we're paying farmers to grow junk food for us, we can pay people around the world to keep trees. Most of the crop that are grown now in the United States are for animal feed. And we're paying them, we're subsidizing them, the farmers, to grow the stuff. And they're using more and more pesticides and more chemicals than ever before. Remember the Dust Bowl? Well, the Dust Bowl, that whole area was a luscious environment when they had the bisons and all animals running around. Now it's, and we did, the Dust Bowl was because we rototilled it. First of all, we killed every bison around so that the Indians wouldn't have any food, right? Then we started rototilling like crazy and damaging the environment. We damaged the environment so there's no longer recycled, so that it doesn't rain, the water does not get absorbed by the trees and given off by the trees and the plants, right? And so we've done a really good job of damaging our ecosystem. I used to tell people you're cutting the branch you're sitting on. Well, now you're cutting the whole tree. You know what? You no longer have a branch you're sitting. You're there chopping the tree down. And the ecosystem is very important. The Earth, by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, but the Earth was a methane planet at one time, right? And somewhere along the lines, these microorganisms they evolved to take in methane and give off oxygen. Recently, science has discovered, and it was all over the planet, it was everywhere on the planet. Recently, science has discovered that there's only one place on the Earth that's growing now, and that's off of the Hawaiian island where that volcano is underground, underwater there. Okay, and they're trying to figure out a way how to make it grow again, make it come back again. And I tell people it's not the Earth that's in danger. We're not here to save the Earth, right? We're here to save us us human beings, as well as every other living being on the planet. Everything on the planet is dependent upon the environment being friendly to us. If you change that environment, you change that ecosystem, we can't breathe methane. And another thing you might want to be interested in is this: when we have an ice age, we're going to have a nuclear ice age. We have all these nuclear power plants. Do you think they're going to survive in an ice age? I mean, they're already leaking now. Radiation is very, very bad. No, we're not going to evolve to live in a radiated environment. I have a friend that says, yeah, we will evolve to be able to live in a radiated environment. No, 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 no. So it's all life on Earth that we are talking about here. It's one thing if us human beings were to become extinct and all the animals and the bees and the birds and all that stuff would go, whoa, that was close, right? You know, the ants would go, you remember those things you used to walk around 2 legs? What were they called, right? But it's not the case. We're taking everything down with us. More and more creatures are becoming extinct because of what we're doing. And we're going to be right. We're not going to be the last ones to become extinct. Probably the ants will still be here, right? There'll probably be some creatures around that are very deep in the bottom of the ocean or under the soil somewhere that will survive, or maybe they'll new life. There's no guarantee that we're going to have life. Look, this is really very simple, okay? So it's no coincidence that all these things happen, that we have life. It's not a matter of it will do it again, okay? Right? So the odds are of life coming back on the planet are very like 0, okay? Right? Some people are saying planet is 1 in a billion, okay? And maybe even more, 1 in a trillion. And I like to tell people our planet has been kind to us, and it's time for us to be kind to the planet. Because if we're not kind, I'd like to tell people we are the cancer. Human beings are the cancer on the earth, and the earth is going to get rid of us. Unfortunately, the earth is going to get rid of every other living thing because it has no choice. It can't just pick up humans and leave everybody else on the planet, right? It would be great if we could do that. I tell people, look, if a giant spaceship was to come to Earth right now and take all human beings off the planet will still go through this process because we have started something, and it is not going to stop right away. We can slow it down. We can, it's like a pendulum. If the pendulum swings one way, also swings the other way, right? So we have screwed up the pendulum so much that it actually swung all the way over here to like 3 o'clock. Before it used to be like 5 or 6 o'clock, and it would be like a 7 or 8 o'clock back and forth, and that mellow pendulum swings, right? But now it swings all the way up to 3 o'clock. And where do you think is when it swings back? Do you think it's going to be like 6 o'clock? No, it's going to go all the way to 9 o'clock, right? The pendulum is going to react, the way it's supposed to. So the Earth is we're going to go into for us to survive this, we had better wake up now, right? We had better wake up now. We had better say, okay, we need to make some changes, and we need to make some changes right now. We need to start regenerating the earth, right? The soil. We need to start, and the soil will regenerate back if you give it a decent chance. If you stop with the pollution, stop with the chemical pesticides, stop with the chemical fertilizers, right? That's why I talk about healing the soil, right? And I tell people, heal the soil and you heal yourself, because you cannot survive, you cannot be healthy if your soil is not healthy, alive. If the food you eat does not have the nutrients you need, you won't last for long. See what I'm saying? You won't last for long. Oh, there's a chat here. Let me see if I can, hey, you are live on YouTube. All right, that's cool. And Facebook, and Facebook, and download, and living in Twitch, and I'm alive in all these places. We're adding more this week. Wow, good going. Well, maybe not Twitter yet, as I didn't go through, but I'll fix that next time. So look, I'm live on YouTube. That's excellent. I'm live on Twitch, and I'm also that's just video. So audio, they added 12 new stations and more coming. Really, really cool. So you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that this is a situation that we need to start paying attention to now, because, excuse me, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around, but I'm hoping that the young folks will be around, right? We need to do it for them if it's nobody else. And we need to pay attention to the soil. Seriously, This is a time, if we ignore the soul, I heard that there's at least a third of the planet we have destroyed, and it's come desert. It's called desertification, okay? And you don't do very well in a desert environment. And the desert does not promote the ecosystem. It doesn't promote rain. It doesn't promote, the natural recycling that the earth has set up, And people starve if you live in a desert. More and more people are starving because they can't grow food in the desert. In China, there's a couple of places that they've been around a long time, and they totally destroy the environment by what they did to it. They didn't have chemicals then, right? Chemical fertilizer. But doesn't mean you can't still destroy the environment. If you rototill, you're destroying the microorganisms in there. And the microorganisms are not there. Nothing will grow in that soil, right? Nothing will grow in that soil. If nothing grows, then you have destroy the cycle, the natural cycle that we need to live. You and I need oxygen. You and I need clean air. You and I need clean water. And so does every other living thing on this planet, right? Understand? And so we have more and more animals going into extinction than ever before, right? And because we are destroying the natural system that's been placed there. And don't think that if you go away, that it'll come back on its own. It may or may not. Right now, there's methane off the coast of California. The astronauts have pictures and video of it. And the last time that happened was 400 million years ago. There's columns of methane shooting up into the air off the coast of California. And that didn't happen. Remember, the Earth was total methane. And you know what permafrost is? It's called permanent frost, right? It's supposed to be permanent. That means it's cold and it ain't going to melt. Well, it's melting, right? And it's the cold that's been keeping this internal heat structure of the Earth under control. You get rid of that cold, and what happens is going to get naturally hotter because the volcanoes. Right now, if you look at Hawaii is actually growing because there's a volcano under there spewing out more lava, and the lava is hardening. Actually, the island is growing, right? It's called the chain of fire, the ring of fire. And the Earth is actually not only just getting warmer outside, it's getting warmer internally as well, because the natural system that controls that temperature is being destroyed. The permafrost is melting. Look, okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about what I understand that's going on in terms of climate change and why we're going to be going into an ice age, okay? So icebergs are fresh water, right? The ocean is salt water. So the Gulf Stream, the reason why the Gulf Stream circulates, the reason why we have climates, the reason why we have winter, spring, summer, and fall is the Gulf Stream. And the reason why the Gulf Stream circulates the way it does is because it's salt water. And salt water, when it gets cold, rises. Fresh water, when it gets cold, it doesn't rise. It stays there. It doesn't. And salt water, when it gets hot, it sinks. That's salt water. So the salt water naturally causes a circulation. It's called the Gulf Stream. So fresh water. So what happens if you dump fresh water into the ocean, which are glaciers? So if you dump trillions and trillions of gallons of fresh water into the oceans become more and more fresh water than salt water. The circulation will not happen. You will not have the Gulf Stream functioning, and you will not have a climate. That's why an ice age is always followed by a global warming is always followed by an ice age. Yeah, it's natural, but not the way we're doing it. We have raised the temperature within the last 20 years more so than the last thousands of years. Okay, right? Understand? So right now we're in a little bit of a fix here, and we can't just stick our head in the sand with our butt in the air. You can't do that because it ain't going to work. It doesn't solve the problem. I myself feel really bad getting in a car and driving. I don't know how to deal with this. You understand? We need to change. We need to stop the system of gasoline that we have, which is constantly destroying the soil, the earth, and it destroys the soil. We need to stop with the airplanes would have all this fuel that's being constantly being dumped into the air. There's so many things, and it's all based upon money. It's all based upon money. Personally, I like the way the Star Trek was done without money, right? And that's going to take a little bit of engineering there to get rid of money, right? But that's not what we have to do. Right now, what we have to do is we have to change our lifestyle a little bit. I told you it's just a little bit. Compost. Compost for me is one of the most important things that we can do to the soil. Because normally nature does her own composting. I got the name Invisible Gardener in 1970 because I used to go to the University of Florida during the day, and the evenings and night I would do my gardening thing for people. People would ask me to come and do a raised bed for them, and I said sure. So my favorite time was actually at night. It's cooler, and easier to put a garden in. And I did this raised beds for a lady. She walked for the husband actually paid me to do a raised bed for his wife. And one day, and then the lady woke up the next morning and she said, "Oh my God, Invisible Gardener must have been here," and the name stuck with me. And at that time, I didn't know about the parable of the Invisible Gardener. The parable of the Invisible Gardener basically has to do with two people walked into the forest and they said, "Oh, look at this, it's beautiful. There must be an Invisible Gardener here." The other guy said, "No, there isn't." "Well, I'll prove it to you." And so they set up a trap and a fence around to see if they can catch this invisible gardener, and they never did. Because the invisible gardener is right there in front of you. It's the microorganisms in the soil. It's the way the nature works. It's energy. The universe is made of massive amounts of energy you can't even see. Like, look around. You'll see the results, right? So I got that name, Invisible Gardener. I was going to say sheer luck or whatever, but it stuck with me, and that's what we need to understand is that everything we do has consequences. Every action has equal and opposite reaction. That's the law of nature. Mother Nature is the best recycler and the best composter ever. She's learned how to take everything, put it together, and then put it back into the soil, and then give it back to all living beings. Understand, right? So it's how you react when you go buy food. You're buying junk food that's pure chemical. There's no nutritional value in it. It's also good for doctors, because you go to the doctor, "Oh my God, I'm sick." Well, they say, "Well, take this pill. Keep eating your junk food. Keep eating all this stuff that's crappy for you, but come on a regular basis because that's my business model," right? So I started doing. At that time, I wish I had a farm. I really would like to be on a farm and practice it. But what I do is I practice it at people's properties, because people's property, they too have soil, and they need to understand it's the soil in the garden. Because when I'm an arborist, and a long time ago, I go, well, trees and soil, maybe we should do something to the soil. That's how I deal with diseases and pests in trees. I can deal with any disease, any pest in trees or plants, simply by making the soil healthy and functioning. Root borers, all types of diseases. If you listen to my last few shows on how to do organic fruit trees, well, gee whiz, the whole thing is based upon healthy soil. Right now, there's a problem. For example, here in Malibu, people are calling me up. "Oh, I got this whitefly problem. Or I got this mealybugs. Or all these things are happening to my fruit trees. Come and spray the fruit trees." Well, it's like, yeah, it's like, okay, so you have a problem with your finger. You want me to come and deal with your finger and ignore your body? Yeah, I can fix your finger. I just cut it off. Then you have another finger problem. Eventually, you have to cut off your hand, cut off your leg, cut off. You only have a head. You'll be dead, because you have to deal with the body. It's really as simple as that. And people don't think of the soil as being part of the body, but it is. I think of it the soil, right? I see the soil as your skin. Screw up your skin, you're going to die, man. You ain't going to last too long. And that's what's happening with the earth. There's a picture of the earth on fire. Okay, the earth is heating up. Help heal the soil. If everybody was to pay attention to that. Okay, so when you compost, the reason why we compost, I tell people, you know the reason why we compost. People, oh, recycling. Well, that's partially. The reason why we cycle is why we compost is because we are helping to heal the soil. In the city environment and buildings and homes, you know, your homeowners, they have soil, but they have a big problem just as much as the farmer does. I have it here. It says, heal the soil and you heal your fruit tree your whole life. Well, you also heal your plants, you heal yourself. My saying is, heal the earth and you heal yourself. And so this environment, right, the city environment, your homeowners, oh, you know, for example, the roads and concrete roads, not very good for the soil. Rain doesn't even get through there. They're lucky if there's any water in the air getting down into the soil. So we're damaging, and we're building more and more cities. So right now, yeah, we have a certain amount of farmland that we're using. We're destroying all that too, right? But we're also destroying the other properties of the cities. The cities need to pay attention too. The city needs to, like San Francisco, where they have they fine you if you're not composting. Right. But the thing they need to get it together is, okay, so they send it out to farmers. Well, they also need to make sure that your homeowner gets to compost, put it on your lawn, put it on your property, right? You know, and you need to, now, unfortunately, city water, what has city water got in it? Chemicals to destroy the microorganisms. So you need to, you know, it's hard to, you have to literally filter out the city water to stop the fluoride, the raw mine, whatever else is in there to kill the microorganisms. You see, and I've learned from experience over and over and over again. When they say, come and spray my tree, I tell them, well, it's a good business model. I said, sure, I can spray your tree every week for the rest of my life. It's not going to solve the problem, but I'll make money off of it. Yeah, you pay me, and I'll be happy to come and spray your tree. I'll be back again because it ain't going to solve the problem. There's a law of cause and effect. The effect, if you just deal with the effect, you're not going to solve the cause. Eliminate the cause, you eliminate the effect. Right? It's as simple as that. And right now, the effect, right? We're going through the effect. Climate change, the earth heating up, the damage we're doing to everything is the effect, not the cause. Guess what the cause is? Humans. Human beings are the cause. The earth has been here a long time ago. There was a paradise before humans showed up. I wish that there would be a paradise after humans leave, but we take every other living things with us, and there's no guarantee at all that these living things will all come back. Once they become extinct, they ain't gonna come back. You see any dinosaurs anywhere? Right? You know, and it doesn't work that way. You know, I learned a long time ago there's actually a formula for this whole thing, because as a scientist, I realized nothing's ever created or destroyed. And I'm into fractals, and one of the reasons why I'm into fractals is because it represents the consciousness. I like to call it the consciousness of God. It's in the formula, and the formula for a fractal is there's one spot that's non-chaotic. The rest of it is chaotic. And that one spot of peace controls the rest of the chaos. The earth is like a one little spot of peace surrounded by chaos. The fact that the earth is what it is now, living things for us, is not by chance. Doesn't mean it's going to happen again. That's one reason why we're having a hard time finding other living things anywhere else in the solar system, anywhere else in the galaxy at the moment. Okay, because this is a very unusual scenario we find ourselves in here. Aliens come here I have one of my other shows is called WTF. It's what the frack. If you ever watch Babylon 5, it's called What the Frack, right? And aliens will come to Earth to enjoy the oxygen, enjoy clouds, enjoy the ocean, do some fishing, right? They come here and they go, what the frack? What's going on? The computer will say, warning, do not eat the fish. Warning, don't touch the air. Oh, warning, don't drink the water. Because we have totally screwed it up. But it can be fixed. It's not like the end of the world, like the earth is going to blow up or something, even though, we could easily do that. We have the ability right now to totally destroy the Earth if we wanted to, and that's called nuclear power. Nuclear power could literally destroy the Earth like that. You right now, you don't realize this, but every nuclear power plant on the planet is leaking. On top of that, they have where they store the radioactive waste, right? Leaking. Did you know you could build a nuclear power plant based upon a different type of source of energy? So right now you build it on uranium. The reason why we build nuclear power plants based upon uranium, you would think, well, that's the only way you can do it. No, it's because they take that uranium, the radioactive waste, and make nuclear bombs from it. You can make a source. There's actually two places on the planet now. It's Russia and India. They use thorium. It's called thorium, named after the god Thor. Does not produce any radioactive waste whatsoever. Okay, we could have done that, but no, we're going the route because this way we can have a source of making nuclear bombs. Understand? Right? And so, and what do we think will happen if it's leaking now? Under normal conditions, what do you think will happen when we go into an ice age? Yeah, we've gone through ice age before, but never a nuclear ice age. That means that everything will die, and nuclear radiation is thousands, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40,000 years before it reverts back, it becomes inactive. Understand? So we're doing everything we can the wrong way. I don't know. I totally don't understand. We are a bunch of idiots. Literally a bunch of idiots. You can't get any worse than that. I mean, you have a tree, you cut the branch, you go to another tree, cut the branch, you go to another part of the branch. Now we're cutting the whole tree down. That tree is the Earth. And literally we're cutting trees down faster than, and we're not building, so I volunteered with the tree people maybe 20 years ago, right? I mean, and it's 1970, in 1990, when I did How to Heal the Earth in the Spare Time, I was already yelling. When I did my radio show in 1970, I was going, it's the trees, it's the trees. Because, the Earth was covered with trees. The United States was covered with trees. Europe was covered with trees. Africa was covered in trees. I mean, you're not getting trees. There are certain places, you don't have trees in the altitude, and underwater and stuff like that. But literally, the Earth was covered with trees. And now we're cutting trees down, and we have the gall to think, well, we're planting more trees, and that solves the problem. No, it doesn't. You have a tree that's like 50 years old, 100 years old. The amount of carbon dioxide it takes in and takes out is much greater than you have a brand new tree. That little tree will take years and years and years to even come anywhere near close to the amount of carbon dioxide that it would normally take. Understand? And oxygen it would give out. So planting trees now is really too late. It's never, actually, it's good to start planting trees, but you can't say that tree is going to solve our problem. What we need to do is pay attention to the soil. We need to stop the desertification. We need to get the carbon dioxide out of the air and back into the soil. We can redo that. We can reverse it. And it doesn't take that a long time. It will just take a few years for it to recover. But we have to stop this practice of rototilling and destroying the soil. Several shows ago, for years I've been telling people, the damage of bad farming practices are doing to the earth is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You don't rototilling is like setting off. So imagine you have a apartment complex, right? And it's like a 20-story apartment complex, right? Microorganisms have evolved to live in different levels. Different organisms are in different levels of that building. So if you destroy the building, you're not going, and these organisms are not going to survive, right? They're not going to survive, and these organisms are not there. Every organism has a function. Every organism has a function. Like I said, we have evolved from the soil. And what's interesting, a couple of interesting things too, is that so if you look out into the stars, and you look at the galaxies, and you look at things out there, you're going to find out that there's a pattern, and that pattern is duplicated in our brain, in our nervous system, in our function, the way our body functions. That's one reason why I love fractal. Because a fracture, you go in so far, it repeats itself. You can go out, it repeats itself. Exactly the way the universe is. I call the soil the internet of the soil, right? And one of the things that I talk a lot about mushrooms, right? And no, it's not psilocybin mushrooms. It's mushrooms. Mushrooms grow, regular mushrooms. Mushrooms are very healthy for you. There's edible mushrooms and poisonous mushrooms, right? There's lots of mushrooms grow, and the mushrooms grow on the mycelium. So one of the things I do to people's properties, I actually grow mushrooms in the soil for them. Because once the mushrooms are growing and the mushrooms survive, it tells me that the mycelium is in the soil. The mycelium web is identical to the way galaxies look. The Great Crab Nebula, for example, even our brain, the way our nervous system works, is identical. And we need to communicate with this mycelium. Mycelium is the oldest being on the planet. I look at it as the most intelligent being on the planet. And it's ridiculous to be killing it, because we kill that mycelium. We kill that natural bacteria in the soil. We're literally killing ourselves. We're already doing that to our stomach. You know what you do when you're eating junk food, when you're eating crap, when you're eating you're taking toxins, eating toxins, chemical, where you're doing medicines and you're doing all this stuff that's destroying your soil. Roundup, for example, okay? Roundup, not only does it kill the soil, microorganisms in the soil, it kills the microorganisms in your body. You can't find food without Roundup in it, unless it's certified organic. You can't breathe the air or touch this or go out and sit on a lawn or anywhere without having Roundup in your body. You test your body, test your hair, test your skin, test your blood. You're gonna find Roundup in there. Because it's everywhere. You literally have to wear a spacesuit walking around to not get any Roundup in you. Okay? Understand? And that's true. And that's true. Think about it. And that's just Roundup. There's other chemicals. There's tons and tons and tons. Okay, so the Germans they invented these chemicals to kill people. Then they turned it around and introduced it to the United States as pesticides to kill pests. It's still killing people. And instead of a doctor saying, well, you have Roundup in your body, we need to clean you out, figure out a way to get rid of it. No, they said, take this pill and you'll be fine. Come back next week and pay the lady on the way out. Pay the receptionist on the way out. Because the model of agriculture and a model of the medicine, ideally it should be do no harm, right? If you're a doctor, that's a science says do no harm. Well, they've thrown that out the window. Agriculture should be do no harm. If you do no harm to the soil, you have a healthy soil, healthy environment, healthy people, healthy animals, healthy birds. Everything, and we would live longer lives, so we wouldn't even need to go to see the doctor. So if a doctor says do no harm, and then he doesn't tell you that, I saw a commercial the other day on TV that says, so if your stomach is upset and you can't digest and all this stuff, take this pill. Keep eating the junk food you're eating, and take this pill, and make sure you have to take this pill for the rest of your life, not just this pill. But it's the same thing with flu shots. The same thing with flu shots. I've never had a flu shot. I actually had a flu shot once, and that was it. I'm not going to do it again, because you're setting yourself up for a major problem down the road. It may sound like a good idea to take a flu shot or this vaccine for that or that vaccine for that. There's a problem with that. It's that it weakens your immune system. You become more and more susceptible to whatever is going to happen. That's why this virus is taking off, because people are so weak. Their immune system is so weak. So the earth has an immune system too. And we're even screwing up with the immune system of the earth. So the earth can't handle, so there's diseases and trees and plants are going to go rampant. And in turn the disease. So if you're a chemical farmer, you have to use more and more chemicals. You're going to get less and less out, and the food is going to be toxic. Why do you think majority of them are growing cattle feed? And the cattle feed, and they feed it to the cattle and animals, and you eat it. You have every chemical that these people are spraying in your body. Think about it. And no wonder you're not feeling well these days, right? Think about it. It's absurd. This is stupid. Bunch of idiots. I'm not calling you an idiot, but I'm saying human beings are idiots, basically speaking. And we need to wake up. I like to tell people, wake up to smell the fires burning. Wake up and smell the earth's burning. This whole climate change thing is due to our irresponsible behavior, irresponsible actions that we have been taking through all the, and not centuries. We haven't been doing this for centuries. It hasn't even been several hundred years. The United States has only been around 200 years. So that's why I like to say maybe 1,000 years from now, we've been irresponsibly we've been acting like children for the last 1,000 years and not paying attention to the health of the soil or the health of your body or the health of the trees or anything. We've just been totally demolishing everything that we've been doing, and we're going to pay for it. So now is the time to wake up. Now is the time to start behaving like you're part of the planet and the planet is part of you. Now is the time to be kind to the planet, and the planet will be kind to you. Otherwise, the planet will kick you out, will kick us all out, will kick us all the living beings will be gone because nobody can, birds, insects, they can't handle the methane. We can't breathe methane. We're not going to evolve to breathe methane. This whole GMO thing, the genetically modified, if that was handled correctly, that could save us too, because we can modify food to grow a different climate. Normally, it takes you a long time for the food to develop to grow in higher altitudes and the colder, harder environment. But no, what we do, we put Roundup in the food, and Roundup and not only Roundup, and the Monsanto went to other companies. Hey, we're getting away with putting Roundup in our food. You can get away with putting the same chemical in your too. We'll show you how to do it. That's what's going on right now. So think about it. So next week we're going to be back again. I got a few more minutes left, I think, right? Let's see how much we got here. We got 3 minutes left on this here video. So that's about 3 minutes we have left on the show. And I'll be back next week. Next week we're going to have do the environmental alert again, part 2. And I'm going to talk to you some more about what's going on with the earth and what we need to do right now. And I'm going to be inviting a bunch of different people. I love what the Kiss the Ground people are doing. Amazing stuff. I've been telling people for years nobody's listening, so maybe they're listening now. And there's lots of more and more people out there paying attention and doing the right thing. I want to get them on my show and have them tell you what they're doing, right? Because we can change. That's what's good about human beings. We can say, okay, I screwed up, I'll fix it, and that's what we need to do. So coming up next is my cosmic spaceship on station 2. You're gonna have to move over to station 2. I do artwork, I do music, excuse me if I get all excited, but we have to. I decided, well, I'm just going to stop being a nice guy, okay? I'm just going to stop being a nice guy, and I'm going to tell you what it is. And you had better behave. You had better get your SHIT together, all right? Otherwise, we're going to be in deep, deep, deep trouble. Okay, so the show is going to end in a few more minutes, about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to be switching over to doing my cosmic spaceship. My cosmic spaceship is artwork, and it's all healing music. I started calling inner gardening because I wanted to try relieve stress on the bugs, release stress in the soil, release stress. And please pick up my book, Don't Panic, It's Organic. It's better to work with Mother Nature than against her. So thank you very much. I think I got Don, do I got a few minutes left? Because I can keep talking forever. I don't want to, interfere because he needs a certain amount of time to switch over to the other station. And he hasn't said anything. So a lot of times he goes away. But anyway, this is Andy Lopez, and you're listening to Don't Panic, It's Organic. I own the copyright to that, by the way. And I started, we have 5 minutes. Cool. So I got 5 more minutes to talk to you. As I said, we don't really have 5 minutes. We have 53 seconds left on the video. But visit my website, invisiblegardener.com, and check out what I'm doing there. Membership is free. Pick up my book from Amazon. Let me see if I can just Stop it right there. There you go. Right. The Don't Panic is organic. Right. I also own the copyright to Don't Panic It's Organic. I've been doing this a long, long time, and I'm getting tired of just trying to get your attention. So now I'm even thinking of just doing this environmental alert every show. Every show I'm going to be talking to you about, and I'm going to have somebody on as a guest to tell you what they are doing. So if you're doing something to help heal the earth, heal the soil, get a hold of me. I want you on my show. I want you to tell people what you are doing, because everybody has to do their part, right? Everybody has to do their part in healing there. That's the thing. If we all pay attention right now, we can do this very easily, right? We have to stop the pollution. We have to stop the chemicals. We have to stop destroying the soil. Simple. See, it's as simple as that. We have to stop all this junk that we're doing, all this CRAP. Pay attention to what's going on now. Okay, this virus is just a warning shot over our heads, because we're getting so weak and weak and weak. A little virus can take off and kill everything, because we don't have the immune system. The soil does not no longer have the immune system. And you can bring it back. You can bring it back. We can do that in such a short period of time. It's amazing how the earth will regenerate itself. We just have to pay attention. We have to do the right thing. And we have to quit going for the money. Quit going for the money. It doesn't work if you go for the money. Let's go for the money. That doesn't work. Okay? So again, go visit my website, invisiblegardener.com. It's spelled invisible like the invisible man, and gardener, GARDENER.com. I get a lot of calls. People say, the website's not there, your email's not working, because I spell it wrong, right? And please pick up my book, Don't Panic, It's Organic. You get it from Amazon or any place else that the books are available. That's all I ask of you. It tells you a lot of stuff that you can do practical, how you can heal your trees, how you can heal your garden, how you can heal your lawn. It all goes back to the soil. It all goes back to how to heal the soil. And I'm actually going to bring back my book, How to Heal the Earth in Your Spare Time, the 2021 version. Okay, and so that's what I'm here for. If you need any help, there are lots of organizations. I'm happy to try. Go to Kiss the Ground. Is it Kiss the Ground, right? And talk to them. Join. There's lots of organizations all over the place. So if you're one of these people that have an organization, come to me. I want you to be on my show. I want you to tell people what it is that you're doing to help heal the soil. And I'm serious. And that's what it's all about. I think we have about a minute left or so. And so I'm going to go ahead and log off now. Thank you very much for being here, okay? I'll be back next week. Take care and happy growing organically, of course. I mean, you can't grow if the soil, if this earth is dead, right? So we have to, maybe I should say, change the model, right? Happy growing organically, of course. That's what I mean by it, If you grow organically, everything will be living. And the soil, the food you eat will be living. You are what you eat. Okay, so take care now. I'm going to be logging off and see you later, okay? Bye.